Hi everybody, welcome to Pecan Corner. Today it is cold with freezing rain outside and I am making homemade mango ice cream. We'll be right back and show you how we do it. It's Paul's got a birthday coming up and this is what I was trying to think what I could do for him, and he loves ice cream and he doesn't eat it very often. So this is something I can make him, and I'm going to put it away in small dishes and then he can enjoy it for a long time. Alrighty, my little recipe at hand. I'm going to start with, to make this, I had mango pulp in the freezer. I froze some from last summer. The only thing is the recipe requires 4 tablespoons of fresh lime juice, and I can't remember whether I mixed the lime in with my mangoes before I froze them or not, so this may have a very pronounced lime flavor. That's alright, Paul likes limes. Anyway, I froze that, so we need the pulp of 4 mangoes, and our mangoes, the ones we get are pretty big, and I get about 1.5 cups. So I'm gonna figure I probably need about anywhere from 4 to 6 cups of mango pulp. I want to, now if I were working with fresh mangoes, what I would do is I would dice and cube my mangoes, peel them, get them cubed, put them in a glass or ceramic bowl. Glass bowl's best, because they have all these enzymes in them, so you don't want them in metal because it'll react to it along with the lime juice. Pour your lime juice over it and let it sit and chill in the refrigerator for about an hour while you work on the rest of these things. All right, I'm going to use. I'm also going to use 10 egg yolks. And by the way, I've already done my eggs. I freeze my whites, just drop them into a freezer container. In fact, you can just keep adding to that. And then one of these days when I've got a lot of it, I'll make some meringues or some coconut macaroons or something that requires a lot of yolks. But if you want to freeze your eggs, if you want to freeze whole eggs where you freeze in the yolks, Lady B3 did a video about that real recently, and I'll put the link down below to show how she freezes hers. I didn't know you could freeze yolks, and so I thought that was a great idea, especially for those of you that have chickens, you know, because sometimes you just have eggs running out your ears. I'm going to start with 4 cups of milk. I'm going to use cream too, but I don't use it yet. Don't mix it in with your milk while you're scalding your milk. There's 2. And there's 4 cups of milk. This is whole milk, not skim milk. Why make ice cream if you can't enjoy the richness of it? All right, I'm going to bring that to what they call scald, where it's hot and it's steaming, but it's not simmering yet. And then I'll be right back and show you. Right, my recipe calls for 3 cups of sugar. You mix 1 cup with the, with the mango. Well, I tasted of my mango, and I had put the sugar and the lime juice in it when I put it up in the freezer. I thought I had, but I wanted to be sure. So I won't use my juice that I have measured. I'm going to leave it out because I have that already done. I'm going to put the other 2 cups of sugar. See, that's the thing. This makes 1/2 gallon of ice cream, and it only has 3 cups of sugar in it. You could probably get away with 2 cups if you really wanted to. It does have fats, but it's good fats. It's, milk fat's good for us. So, and I'm using some of my sugar that I got a bargain. Woohoo! I love that. Woohoo! Great deal bargain on the other day. All right, I've got 10 egg yolks. I'm going to mix them in the sugar. I'm only going to use, I'm using my stand mixer for a reason. I've got to pour that scalding milk. I've got to blend the hot milk and the egg yolks together. You can do that by hand, but I'm a little bit of a klutz, and unless you've got 2 people, so you've got somebody to whisk and somebody to pour, it's really hard to do. So I cheat and I use my stand mixer for this. sorry, I guess you don't want to watch that, do you? I'll tell you what. Alrighty, my milk is scalded, and so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start my mixer whisking, and I'm going to whisk constantly while I just slowly and steadily add my scalded milk in. Now I'm going to pour all of this back into the pot, and I'm going to cook it for 4 minutes until it, I'm not going to let it boil, I'm just going to cook it until it starts thickening up. I'm going to continue to stir it constantly during that time. I'm going to turn this off while that goes on. Alright, I'm stirring this and cooking it over medium heat for 4 minutes until it starts thickening up a little bit, but you do not want to let it boil, you do not want to let it simmer. It needs to, if you don't keep stirring it and you don't get those eggs whisked into that hot milk, and you have to pour the hot milk into the eggs, you can't pour the eggs into the hot milk. If you pour the eggs into the hot milk, or if you stop stirring it, you end up with scrambled eggs and sweet milk, which is not very tasty. That's why you'll see some pudding recipes that will tell you to strain it after cooking it, and that's because so many of us, until we get the hang of it, make scrambled eggs. So you have to pour that hot milk, and like I said, it shouldn't be simmering, just scalded, just hot enough to see steam coming off of it, into those eggs while you're constantly mixing it. That constant mixing is the other secret to it. But I'm going to do this for a few more minutes, and until it starts thickening a little bit, and then I'm going to set it aside and I'm going to let it come to room temperature before I make my next step. Alrighty, now then, this is cooled somewhat, at least as much as I'm going to let it cool. And I'm going to, instead of trying to mix it all together in a bowl and pour it in, I'm going to mix it all in here. I'm going to pour in my custard. Since I'm not hand cranking this, if I were hand cranking this stuff, I would want to let it chill before I put it in here. But I'm not hand cranking it, and I've got lots of ice, so I don't have to be as finicky about it being chilled. This is 6 cups of my top to my little ice cream freezer was down in there. Hold on, get this out of the way. There we go. All right. All right, 6 cups of mango. And see, the paddles will stir it up together, so I don't have to worry too much about that. It won't come, your ice cream mixture should not fill the whole container, because it's going to swell as it freezes. So you do not want it full to the top, or it's going to overflow into your ice. All right, now I have water again today, but I'm not taking any chances, so I'm letting the water drip. All right, there's my little lid. Now I'm going to put my top on it, plug it in, and let it go to work. I used a hand crank one. It was so funny. I bought a hand cranked ice cream freezer so that my grandson could see how these things worked. And the first time we used it, he was pretty small then. He's 15 now, but the first time we used it, he was about 9. And the first thing he said was, you know, somebody ought to invent a motor that would go on this. Yeah, son, you're right. Somebody ought to invent one. So he didn't appreciate hand cranking one. He he was pretty inventive there. So we went out and bought a motorized one so we could have it more often. All right, I'm gonna let this go for a couple hours while it I'm gonna add my my ice cream salt. The ice cream salt will make the ice release its cold and actually get colder than it would without it. So and then I'm gonna pour that out there on my patio in those places that I don't want anything to ever grow. All right, this has been churning for about an hour, a little over an hour maybe, and it is. Oops, just put that in there. Don't want that piece of rock salt in there. I'm gonna let it sit in the ice and harden a little bit, and then I'll let it do that for about maybe 20 minutes. And then what I'll do is I'll pull out the dasher, and I'll move it into small containers to freeze up. It's soft frozen right now, and I'm taking up a dish. I'm sure that Paul is going to want to try some of this, so he can approve it. And there we have it, a beautiful dish of homemade mango ice cream. You can use this same recipe with any fruit that you prefer. You can also use it without fruit, and add a little vanilla to make vanilla ice cream. Scrape the seeds out of a vanilla bean and use them instead of a vanilla extract to make French vanilla. This is a lovely custard ice cream that is a beautiful way to use up a lot of eggs. And as you can see, it's a great thing to have even when it's cold outside. All right, thank you guys. Enjoy. Oh, and by the way, if you like this, I keep forgetting, I need to ask you to do a thumbs up and please subscribe.